let's do some terminology. I'm just going to concentrate on one thing to begin with, one expression, one term. Um, duty, Kant would say, is an a priori concept. I just want you to, after the next few minutes of me laying this out, I'd like you to feel confident that you understand what he means when he says that it's an a priori concept. We even know what duty is, sort of. We know what a concept is, sort of. But a priori, that is Latin. So let's figure it out. Well, if duty is an a priori concept, duty is not an a posteriori concept. A priori, let's just say for our purposes that equals whoops. So a priori is prior to, before. A posteriori is posterior to or after. Let's just say that's what those Latin expressions mean. Uh, obvious question. Before or after what? And that's unfortunately not laid out. But before and after experience. Experience. And let's just say I mean that in the most ordinary way I can mean it. If I look at you, I'm having an experience of you. If I read a book, I'm having an experience of the book. If I look at the Empire State Building or listen to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, I'm having an experience of those things. So before experience and after experience, a posteriori concepts after experience it's a concept. A posteriori concepts are those we have because we have had a certain experience. Let's say red or redness as a color concept. I have that concept of redness or red. Sorry for my bad typing. I never really learned how to type on a computer. I have the concept of redness or red only because I have experienced particular red things like apples and stop signs. I could only have it after experience. So the color or redness or any color concept would have to be an a posteriori concept because I need an experience of a certain sort so I can abstract the idea from that particular experience. Let's say, talking about morality, let's say courage. That's a virtue and it's a general concept. And I only have that concept because I have had particular experiences of how I behave or how other people behave. And so cowardice would be also an a posteriori concept. These are just a couple of examples. Most concepts are a posteriori. Some philosophers would say all concepts are from experience. This would make you an empiricist, someone who thinks that all knowledge on all mental contents come from experience. Kant is not one of those philosophers. he believes there are some a priori concepts, and those would be concepts which we have prior to all experience. That's what makes them kind of difficult to imagine, is that Kant believes that some concepts that we have are built in to our thinking in such a deep way that they are always there, that we do not derive them from experience, like our concepts of courage or the color red. But they're concepts which are so deeply embedded in our thinking that we always bring them to experience. And duty and the principles associated with it are examples of those sort of concepts. So if he says that a moral act, one that has more worth, must be done from duty, he would say that's an a priori truth. So moral concepts, the really important ones, we don't get them from experience. Um, we always have them. They're built into our reason, you might say. Which is maybe a little bit hard to believe, a little bit far fetched, maybe, but that's certainly what Kant believes, and that duty is such a concept. There's some interesting things to say about duty in the beginning of this reading. One is, well, if you take this, a moral act must be done from duty to have moral worth. And this is a strange aspect of Kantian moral philosophy. That is, he tells you that for an act to have moral worth, for it to be morally praiseworthy, it has to be done out of a goodwill. And he tells you that a goodwill is one done that is done from a recognition of duty, and that duty is always to the moral law. But it's not clear that anything that anybody does is actually done out of duty. That is, it could be that all acts are done from feeling or self-love. And the amazing thing that Kant says in this reading is that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That doesn't tear down his theory at all. That is, he stands by the statement that a moral act, one that has moral worth, must be done from duty, even if no even if no act has ever actually been done from duty, the proposition still stands. That is, if it's that moral worth, it must be done from duty. That may seem a little strange, but one thing to keep in mind about Kantian morality. Kant's notion of morality, I think, is this. And he says this pretty much somewhere. I think maybe in the introduction or the preface to the work. Morality is not about the way the world is. Science is about the way the world is. Maybe mathematics, in some degree, is about the way the world is. Morality is not about the way the world is. Morality is about the way the world should be. And that may serve you well as you're trying to comprehend Kantian morality. Science describes nature. History describes human acts. Um, Theology may describe the way that God is. They all have a different function than morality. Morality doesn't tell you the way the world is. It tells you the way the world should be. And even if the world is not that way, and maybe even if the world never even has a chance to become that way, it doesn't mean that's not the way it should be. Because the way it should be is built into reason itself, says Kant. So a corollary of this general law would be saying morality is not about the way people act. It's about the way they should act. So, Kant believes that when he talks about pure reason, he means so a color concept is not pure reason. It's reason mixed with experience. Concept of courage is not pure reason. It's reason mixed with experience. But he thinks that duty is such a pure concept because this is what he means by metaphysical. He uses that word too. Metaphysical principles are the ones that are dictated by pure reason. And they're always a priori. They're never a posteriori. So, as he says, the principles of morality have to do with people's intentions, and intentions are hidden from us. So, in any particular act, we see somebody act, but we don't see the principle upon which they act. That's something that is beyond observation. So I hope that this helped. I wanted, um, most of all, for you to understand this idea of an a priori concept as opposed to an a posteriori concept. An a priori concept is a concept that we have prior to or before experience. A posteriori concept is one that we have because we've had certain experiences like red. And for Kant, the basic principles of morality are always a priori.